Yes, all right. We are here in District 6, which is Councilmember Strauss's district. And Strauss did support the original vote. And so we're asking the Councilmember, give it up for Councilmembers doing the right thing. Close to the right thing. We're still 48% short, but you're on the right side of stepping to the right side of history. And we want to keep you right there. So when the opportunity comes, Councilmember Strauss, we are asking you that you hold the line and override. Yes, hold the line and override the mayor's veto. We are here at Ballard Commons, and something I just really want to highlight and uplift is the importance of caring for all of our community. We live in a city that's been in a state of emergency around housing affordability and homelessness for a very long time. And instead of actually investing in the things that we know allow folks to come inside if they want, the city continues to do shit like give $410 million a year to the police department, some of which goes to navigation teams and sweeps, which is a really fucked up thing to do. Can you imagine what it would be like if you had found a bit of stability and then someone comes up and just like knocks your door in, throws your stuff in the back of a dumpster truck, basically, and then rolls off and pushes you someplace else? Yeah, boo. It's inhumane at any time, but we're in the midst of a global pandemic where many people have lost their jobs. The unemployment rate in some states is like 45%, all right? And Washington's not necessarily doing much better. So what will help keep everybody safe is if instead of investing in police, who we know do not stop harm and do not stop violence, they respond when something has already occurred, is actually investing in the well-being, care, and compassion of other people. Because when we do that, clap it up for care and compassion. Because when we do that, we actually prevent a lot of things that happen when folks don't have access to sustainability, housing, healthcare, food, all the things that allow people to be healthy and thriving. Word? So I just want to encourage y'all, when you're walking around Seattle and you see folks around you, look people in their faces, smile at them, be willing to share the things that you have. At our last stop, we talked about mutual aid and how important it is that we start to build those relationships where we can share our resources and care for one another. That includes all of our neighbors. Word? Word. All right. Great. So we have another amazing speaker for those of y'all who have been on this Labor Day caravan with us. Shout out to all the workers and worker-led movements. This person is doing, give it up for workers. Y'all ain't gotta wait for me to clap. You could treat this like church. I know, I don't go to church, so I don't even know what that means. But you could treat this like, your self-expression. But we want to celebrate workers and all that workers have done for social justice movement. And this particular person really continues to stand in the fight and be ready and willing to do whatever needs to get done. So give some love to my friend EC.
I think we hear the same stories over and over again about the quote-unquote dangers of encampments from conservative and mainstream media. And I'm saying conservative and mainstream because that's what they are. And so today I just kind of wanted to share a few stories and things that I've learned working with people at Real Change who are either currently living outside or have been unsheltered in the Seattle and King County area. So for those who don't know, Real Change runs a day center. And there I get to interact with people on a daily basis. We're working throughout the coronavirus as everyday essential workers. And I see the direct impact that sweeps have every day on our community members. A lot of service providers establish relationships and do outreach to their clients, knowing which encampments they're staying at. And so the sweeps impede social workers and case managers from being able to deliver the services that the city says sweeps help to provide, which is connecting people to resources. So often it is extremely difficult to reconnect with people after they've been swept, especially if they have no good means of contact or their methods of contact, for example, phones, were either lost, stolen, or destroyed during the sweeps. The days after a site is swept and the Seattle Police Department has thrown away all of their belongings that an individual or a family has worked to accrue are honestly the worst days that we see, especially during this pandemic. IDs, birth certificates, and phones are among the many items that people lose due to the sweeps, not to mention their actual beds, right? And so it's impossible to get into traditional shelters without a form of ID, assuming that shelters are a place that people even want to stay at during the coronavirus, or even not during the coronavirus, right? Or even assuming that these shelters are accepting people, right, that they have capacity. Most jobs require that people have some form of government identification. In order for certain referrals to housing to be completed, you need to have a contact with specific offices with very, very strict deadlines. And during the pandemic, many offices have adjusted their hours, and folks who need to contact them aren't aware of these changes. Therefore, they miss another crucial appointment and then end back right at the bottom of a waiting list that some people take years to get up on, right? And so, I'm saying these things just to show like the endless hoops that they make folks who are vulnerable, like financially and otherwise in the city, jump through, not even just in the city, across the nation, just to get some form of state assistance. Another form of state assistance that some of our real change vendors are on is SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. And this is for folks who have become homeless due to circumstances beyond their control, such as like on-site work injuries that led to permanent disabilities, mental health issues, and so many more. SSDI pays you about $1,200 a month to disabled workers. $1,200 a month. This is barely enough to cover rent. In many places in the city is not enough to cover rent, let alone food on the table, transportation costs, clothing, etc. To the folks who say get a job, to everyone who's living on the streets, people who are on SSDR are actually rarely allowed to get a job. Fun fact, not very fun fact, not fun at all, terrible fact. If a recipient starts earning more than the additional $1,200 a month on SSDI, they get kicked off of their benefits and are told that they're making too much now. So if you actually do the math on that, that's under $30K a year. So assuming that a person even finds a job that will take them for the amount of hours that they need to make under that 1,200 mark, or it varies per region. You still can't make more money than the initial 1,200 that they give you per month. So that's just some perspective there. And so as I'm saying all these things, I hope people are realizing the extremely fucked up situations that our government puts vulnerable people in, and also that it doesn't have to be this way, right? Right? Right. Sweeps don't need to happen in a city where for every 10 housing units, one is vacant, Every single year, we have been seeing an increase in the amount of people who are living unsheltered outside. This past year, 2020, January, when we got the results, there was a 5% increase from the previous year. We are in a state of emergency, as Nikita said, and this is one of the richest cities in one of the richest countries in the world. Secure housing is crucial to the foundation for community health and safety. While some people just walk by and see tents, I see like a community of people, right, who have been forced to be resilient together. The cops on our navigation team, some of the highest paid sergeants in our Seattle Police Department, get paid over $300,000 or $400,000 a year to bully people. Exactly. Since the beginning of the uprisings, of the Black Lives Matter uprisings in Seattle, it's been reported that the Seattle Police Department has been paid over $6.3 million in overtime to brutalize, harass, and assault protesters all over the city. And I did the math. It costs approximately $150,000 for Lehigh, which is the Low-Income Housing Institute, to build a village of 10 tiny homes. So that means that with the money that the city of Seattle has spent paying these police officers to be brutalizing protesters, we could build approximately 42 new tiny home villages. That's over 400 people that we could house permanently in this city. Yeah. So, I want to end by just addressing, not only Dan Strauss, but folks who are residents of this neighborhood. But to Dan Strauss, if you're watching this, and you should watch this, You committed to defunding SPD by 50% and supporting Black communities in Seattle. And you said yourself that we need to be putting money into BIPOC-led orgs. In Decriminalize Seattle and King County Equity Now's 4-point plan, one of the main buckets of investments, of the 4 buckets of investments that this money would go to from disinvesting in the police department, is into housing. And so it is your responsibility, Councilmember Strauss, to the Black Lives Matter movement to follow through on your commitments and override the mayor's veto on the 2020 rebalancing budget. And to the folks who are residents in this neighborhood, like, there are so many different ways to get involved and, you know, offer a helping hand to the folks who are living here, not even just in this park, but, you know, like all across this neighborhood, all across the city. There are folks who are living outside in the middle of a global pandemic, you know, in the midst of some of the highest unemployment rates in the US, if not the world. And so, you know, it's like, bring a couple bottles of water out, you know, bring extra cash out. Like, these are things that, you know, can just like, that are small actions that you can do to make people's days, right? Or to like build sustainable networks of mutual aid, build relationships with the folks who are living outside, because they're people too, right? They're people too. We don't need the police to keep us safe. We can keep us safe. Thank you.
Give it up for you, CEO. I hope y'all heard those numbers. I hope you heard that. What was that, $6.3 million? And over time, it could build how many homes? 420 homes, y'all. Instead of policing protests, $6.3 million could have gone into building homes. Which, I just want to be transparent with y'all. I don't know if y'all remember the 2017 election. I kind of remember it stupid well. But the mayor talked a lot about investing in housing. In fact, she signed a contract with the Seattle People's Party saying she would stop the sweeps and invest in housing. So we need to be holding these electeds accountable to the things that they say when they run for office to get your vote. And they need to actually do it. I don't care if it's not politically favorable. If it's right, if it honors human dignity and human life, it is the right thing to do. So for over 100 days, people have protested in this city. Sometimes 2-3 times a day there have been a protest. We need to keep that energy up. We have the 2021 budget coming up, and they can give us that 48%, and we can start building homes for people. We can stop playing around. We can stop criminalizing the lack of access to economic opportunity and education. We can stop criminalizing folks who have different ability levels. We can stop criminalizing people and start honoring people's human dignity. Word? So this is a part of a whole trajectory of our community. We're not stopping with defunding SPD. We're starting with defunding SPD, and we're continuing the work of building nets that work in our communities. Word? All right. So we want to be able to make sure our council members know we was here, right? So we're going to gather together for a photo. Social distance, of course. Thank you for wearing your mask. Free all the protesters. Word. When I say hold the line, y'all say override. Hold the line. Override. Hold the line. Override. Hold the line. Override. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. All right, solidarity to all workers, y'all. Thank you for coming out on this